Welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. We're here Monday nights, Slasher Movie Club. Coriander's with me, and we're ready to rock
Yep.
Coriander, we're going back to the 80s, bro. That's
Yeah.
what we're going to
Yep.
do tonight. Talking about from 1988, Maniac Cop, directed by William Lustig, who most famously, and for you guys that have been followers of Slasher Movie Club for a while. Most notably, he's known for directing Maniac. So, and that was a fun episode a long time ago, Coriander. So, how you doing tonight?
Yeah. I'm not bad. How are you doing?
I'm ready to rock, bro. I'm ready to go. Get into this
All
real
right.
quick. Just to say hello to all you guys in the live chat. A blanket hello. Looks like Castellar jumped in here. What's going on? We got Russell. Of course, Russell is in here with us.
Nice.
JJ, what's going on?
Hey,
Surprised they haven't remade this one yet. They had talked about it. I think as far back as
they should.
2017 and
Yeah.
things haven't gotten off the ground yet. So, but who knows? Who knows? Especially with the different things going on, especially with the pandemic and stuff like that. Who knows? It might still happen. Melissa, what's going on? Good to see you.
Hello.
We got Russell in the chat. What's up, Russell? Good to see you as well. The
Hey.
mayor is in the house. What's up?
Hello. Nice.
Our good friend Eric from the Bearded Entertainment. He's
Very
throwing the
nice.
emojis up. You're all right, man. You're all
Oh.
right. Let's see who else we got in the chat here. Eric, I tell you. Dan is in the chat. Slasher,
All right.
Shockma Slasher. For all of
Oh
you
no.
guys, let me just say this too. I didn't want to get off on a tangent too much because I might do this on Thursday. But for all you guys, including Dan and Eric and all you guys that hung out with us on last Thursday for my birthday stream, thank you guys so much. You guys made it so memorable. It was so much fun. And Shockma, for you guys who did not see it, you got to check out the replay. Just all I'm gonna say is Shockma. That's all I'm gonna say. All right. Scott's in the house. What's up, Scott?
Oh man.
Saying love Maniac Cop. All three were good, but the original was the best. I'm patiently waiting for the remake, for a
Mm.
remake. Yeah, I think it's definitely something that will happen at some point. I really do. Friday, what's up, man? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah.
Let's see. And I think I caught up to everybody. Okay. So Coriander, let's talk about Maniac Cop for a little bit here. Um
Yeah.
you had never seen this movie before,
Never.
but you are a
I've heard
fan.
of it,
Yes.
but
Yes.
I've never seen it. Yeah.
Okay. And you are a fan of these types of films, the 80s slasher.
Oh
Obviously,
God.
this has
Yeah.
action involved with
Mm-hmm.
it. William Lustig, known for doing grindhouse type of stuff. If you go back and think about things like Maniac,
Yeah.
this movie has the distinct pleasure to have multiple horror
The
icons
cast,
in it.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Tom
it's
Atkins,
yeah,
Bruce Campbell. I mean, come on, man,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Um, but it starts out with just this big backdrop of the city, New York City. You have
Mhm.
this young lady who's leaving what looks to be, some type of bar or an establishment or whatever. And she's walking down the streets of New York City alone. This already is winning in in my book, Coriander. Now, what were you
Oh no.
thinking in the beginning as she's walking down this street? And she obviously is going to get, or try, they're going to try to mug her, these two goons. What were you
Yeah,
thinking at this point in the film? This is right in the beginning of it.
yeah. I mean, it, even to this day, and even when I was a kid, you knew not to go anywhere alone. So right
Yes,
there, this
yes.
chick was asking for it.
Right, right, right.
So, if anything, it's like, see, bitch, you should have known. But anyway, no, what can I say? Yeah, that she did pretty good against these couple of guys. She defended herself. She got away. They were running
Yeah,
after her, of course, but I mean, for a girl who's, yeah, on her own at night, defenseless. She did
Mm.
pretty freaking good, so
She did, man. I mean, she hung in there, and I think that that was a cool thing is that she was being mugged and
mhm,
found a way to fight her way out of it and was running
mhm,
down the street. So that was kind of cool. There was this chase
yeah,
aspect going on, which I really enjoyed. And so you're getting all invested in this girl, you know what I mean?
mhm.
And then she runs into a park and she's hiding and she's running towards a cop and she's like, "Officer, help me, officer." And you're thinking,
I
"Okay, that's
mean,
good news. She's smart.
shit,
She's running."
dude, I don't think I'd be
Mhm,
this guy, I don't know, but he's almost as tall as this, like, lamppost here.
mhm.
It's like he's a giant. I don't think I'd be
Well,
asking for his help.
she didn't
I'm
think of it
sorry.
like that because she ran right up to him and
I
then
know.
boom, he killed her right in the
Yeah,
beginning of the goddamn movie. So
yeah,
seriously, it starts off on the right foot as far as
it
I'm
did,
concerned with a
it did.
kill within the first 5 minutes of the film. Now look, we already told you who's in this movie, so you guys know what's up. Check out this silhouette. As soon as and let me backtrack too. I don't remember watching this as a kid, but I know I must have because I knew the movie and I knew bits of it. Okay, so this was basically like a first watch for me. But when I see this silhouette, I knew who was coming down that hall. And there he is, the doctor of slick, Tom Atkins
Mhm.
himself as Detective McCrae. And he's just awesome. Let me just say that. He could be talking about Mickey Mouse, and I'm gonna be involved and
Wow.
invested in him. He's just that cool.
Okay.
But he's investigating the death of this girl, and he knew her because he used to frequent the bar and stuff like that. And I guess this girl that got killed also knew a lot of cops, you know, and was just a cool person. So he becomes pretty invested in the serial killings of this. We don't know who he is yet, but obviously it's the maniac cop. So Tom Atkins gets involved. Now, when you see Tom Atkins in a role like this, Coriander, first of all, do you like him in this type of role? And what did you think of his performance overall in this film?
I mean, he has played a few roles as a cop, a detective, whatever.
Yes.
So he definitely fits the bill.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, I'm a fan of Tom, so
Yeah.
I think he's great in in whatever he does.
Mm-hmm. It's
So
very
I
true.
can't complain about, what I'm seeing so far from him.
Absolutely.
It's nothing new. I can't say, wow, I've never seen him in this type of a role.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's still good to see him. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. And Scott's working hard in the chat, reminding people don't forget to hit the like button. It helps to support the stream and the channel. We'd appreciate it. Thank you guys
Yeah.
so much.
Hmm.
And also, we've got Russell saying, "Have you heard of the Christmas horror film It's a Wonderful Night" with Justin Long? We actually
Yeah.
have heard of it, and I got an early screener of it, and the video will be out
Yeah.
tomorrow, Russell. So look out for it and
Yeah.
definitely interesting thoughts on it. The embargo just lifted today so that we could talk about it. So, all right. Eric's in the chat too. What's up, Eric? Saying I still need to check this movie out. Wow, I haven't seen any of the movies in the series. I hear more people prefer part two.
Mm.
Okay, all right. Now we have not seen part two, so let me just say
Yeah.
this, guys. As always,
No
and
spoilers.
this is a rule for any time that we're live
Yeah.
is if we don't talk about it, please don't spoil it for others. Eric obviously hasn't seen this movie either. And when we get to the big spoilers, we will definitely let you guys know. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. So we have this couple also. This is right after we're introduced to Tom Atkins. We have this couple driving down the street, and then all of a sudden they get pulled over. And guess what? It's the maniac cop. Oh my God, Cordell. His name is Cordell.
Yeah.
He is something else. He has this guy basically doing the sobriety test, and then all of a sudden, boom, just knocks the crap out of him and
Yeah.
throws him into the windshield. It was very similar. I almost thought this was going to be similar to that scene in Maniac with Tom Savini. But yeah, so this girl gets freaked out. She drives off. I'm actually surprised that she got away. But later
Right?
on in the film, we learn that the maniac cop wants witnesses So he's terrorizing the city is basically what's going on. You got Richard Roundtree as well. I mean, there's a
Mhm.
lot of really, really good actors in this film. It really, really is. The cast is amazing. Um, let's get to another death. This was the third death scene or kill scene, I should say, in the film Coriander, when there's this guy who basically just gets attacked on the street by Cordell
Mhm.
and he's being chased. I thought it was a pretty cool scene in the sense of just the atmosphere. It's dark. There is nobody on the streets, which
Yeah.
is really weird to say in New York, but hey, it's a film. We just gotta roll with it. But what did you think about this death when you talk about concrete being a way to kill someone? I thought that this was a pretty good death scene.
Yeah, I mean, that was the first for me. He
Right?
suffocated him and left him there so that the next
That's
morning
right.
he was part of that pavement. So
Yeah,
that was great.
exactly. Yeah, I know. He just like stuffed them into the concrete, the cement. I was like, oh my God, man. It was pretty
Yeah.
crazy. Um, and let's see, we got Jose's in the chat too. What's going on? Saying a classic
Hello.
indeed, all three. All right, all right. Eric saying no worries on spoilers for me. Yeah, well, I mean for me, I don't want spoilers for anything unless I've allowed it. And I think that's a good way to think about it for you guys because you never know who hasn't seen it. And most people aren't big into spoilers. Most people aren't big into spoilers. So after we get this kill scene, next we have Tom Atkins, who basically is one of the only people at this point in the movie with any brains, right? Because he's telling one of his friends who is a news reporter, hey, we got to put this thing out to the city. We got to warn people about this maniac cop. And she's all for it. She's like, yeah, actually, she coins him as maniac cop and that was kind of cool in the movie. But he's ready to rock and roll. But we got to get introduced to our other big icon in this film. We meet
Yeah.
this wife who's kind of jittery. She's taking out newspaper clippings of the maniac cop and his rampage
Mhm.
all throughout New York. And who is her husband, Coriander?
Oh, it's Ash.
That's right. That's right. Bruce Campbell himself,
Yeah.
which was so cool to get a chance to see him, in some other films other than Evil Dead and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I'm a big Bruce Campbell fan. Anyways,
And he's
he's just
still, even in this movie, he's still getting thrown around and smashed into shit.
he
It's
is.
great.
It is, man. He's
Yeah.
always gonna be that guy, right?
Right?
No, he was really good in this, but obviously his wife thinks that he can be the maniac cop,
Yeah.
because she's afraid of him. She talks about how he wakes up in his sleep with nightmares and this and that.
Mhm.
So it's really I gotta admit, it was kind of an odd scene in a way
Yeah.
because I'm thinking
But
to myself,
she got that phone call too that
right,
kind of
that
made you understand, okay,
yeah,
you
she was
know.
getting these phone calls where someone
Mhm.
was basically saying that Bruce Campbell's character
Is
was
the maniac cop. Mhm.
right. Right. So you start to wonder a little bit. You're like, "Oh, wait a minute. Who's that making the call? What's going on?" So
Mhm.
again, Bruce in this film, awesome to see him. He's playing Officer Jack Forrest. And so he's leaving to go out on his beat, right? And he's a cop. She doesn't want him to go out at night. So there's a part of her, I think, that's worried about him, but also part of her that's wondering, could he be the maniac cop? So when he leaves, she decides to follow him and she
Mhm.
probably shouldn't have done that because
Yeah.
ding ding ding, he's not going out to work, he's having an affair. And I guess there was
Mhm.
something going on in their marriage. He didn't want to hurt her but hadn't told her yet, and come to find out that his wife is unhinged, man. She pulls out the gun. She really does
Yeah.
believe that he could be the maniac cop, man. I'm like, what is going on here, man? I mean, seriously, it's crazy stuff at this point in the movie. Um, real quick, let me just jump to the chat. Let's see. Let's see. Friday saying the first few kills come fast in this movie. They
Mhm.
do. They really, really do. I mean, I think they set you up pretty quick, man. They really, really do. Let's see who else we have in here. We got James. James in the chat. saying you mentioned Tom, but why not Bruce Campbell? Well, we just did. We just did talking about him and his part in here. Let's see who else. Who else? Russell saying Tom Atkins is an awesome legend. He is.
Hmm.
He is. I totally
Yeah.
agree with you. But here's the thing: after she finds him and decides to leave the hotel, his wife is taken into a van. We realize it's the maniac cop, and the housekeeper goes back to the room in the morning at the hotel that Bruce Campbell was in and finds his wife dead. It's like,
Mm.
oh wow, this is crazy, man. We've literally
Yep.
already got multiple kills in this film, and this is still like the first like 17 minutes or so of the movie. It really does set you up with the pace. But because it's his wife that gets killed, they think that he did it. So it kind
Well,
of
she had this book too, right? With all the
her
clippings.
diary. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah,
And her
yeah. So
diary.
she's basically kind of put the blame on him
Mm.
inadvertently. So he's taken into custody, and they're asking, where were you? What did you do? All that type of stuff. And you can tell for Tom Atkins, his character, he doesn't buy it. He doesn't buy it at all right from the beginning. And this
Hmm.
sets up an interesting thing because now Bruce Campbell is out of the picture a little bit, which I don't know. I don't know if I like that as much, but it kind of is what it is because now it goes
Well,
into
wasn't he in
another
jail?
aspect.
Right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, he's right there
he
in the
kind of
cell,
had to
right
be.
there.
Right. So he kind of had to be out of the picture for
Right, right.
a
I was
little bit.
thinking that it wasn't going to be as long as it was because
Yeah.
it was for a while, to be quite honest. But then you have the officer that he was with, Teresa Mallory, played by Lorene Landon, who's basically the other lead in the film, and she's basically out trying to capture, some folks on the street posing as a prostitute. And when she gets done, she's walking down the alley, which again, don't do
Hmm.
that, people, man or woman, don't do that, dark alleys. And guess who she runs into? Boom,
Yep.
Cordell. It's like, oh no, man. I actually didn't know what was going to happen at this point, man. I really, really didn't. What did you think of this scene when she thinks it could be one of the officers, in the
Hmm.
precinct or whatever, and then Cordell attacks her? What did you think of this scene?
I mean, I get irritated, right? When people are shooting at this goon like 8 times, and
Hmm.
most of the shots are like going to the chest instead of to the head. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Hmm.
Supposedly you said she shot him in the head.
She
I
said
didn't
that.
s-
She said two shots to the head,
yeah, well, I didn't see those 2 shots to the head. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy and I missed them,
or
but it's
either they
like
just didn't have the money for the practical effect or whatever.
maybe I don't know. I'm just trying to say that
Hmm.
it's irritating, you know,
Hmm.
and it's like, come on, guys, they're shooting at
Right.
the same spot but anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, I
But
mean,
Tom Atkins comes in to save the day,
oh
so
yeah,
that
he
was pretty
saves the
cool.
day, and of course the maniac cop gets away, and
Mhm.
it's like, yeah, he's indestructible, man.
He is, bro. He was shot more than 6 times. It was crazy. "What's up,
And
Strange Monkey?"
he's got to be wearing a vest like under that shirt because there's
Whatever it
no
may be.
way, you
Right.
know, there's no way.
Strange Monkey saying the whole trilogy holds up. Alright.
Hmm.
Alright. Friday saying they weren't showing the face for the reveal until later. Okay, yeah, yeah, and that was kinda cool in the beginning because they always had him in shadow, you know what I mean? I thought that was pretty cool. I really, really do. So anyways, Tom Atkins comes to save the day. The maniac cop gets away, and then it's pretty much a situation where he has to work with Teresa to try to figure out this thing. And that was kind of cool because this was the part I think I enjoyed most about the movie is, you had Tom Atkins trying to unravel the mystery. It's like, who the hell is this cop that is killing people
Hmm.
across the city, you know? And so he does some investigation. He goes snooping around in case files and all that type of stuff. He runs into one of the people working in the office, Sally Noland, who is kind of always just to herself and so forth. So this opened up another aspect of the plot because
Yep.
she seemed to be pretty suspect right from the beginning.
Yep.
You could just tell. And she had access to all of the files and the computer. And
Mhm.
so basically, as Tom Atkins is putting the pieces of the puzzle together, you are as well, because you're like, well, she obviously has case files on all the cops. She has the access to what all the cops are doing and so forth. So this was a pretty cool scene. And then Tom Atkins follows her after she leaves the office, and they go out to this area like where the docks are and all that. It's a pretty cool location, and the atmosphere is really really nice. I like this type of aesthetic in these older movies, especially from the 80s, because it really takes me back. What did
Mhm.
you think of this scene? Because she obviously goes to Cordell and has a relationship with him, knows
Yeah.
him. And Tom Atkins is basically spying on them. I thought it was going to be
Mhm.
over for him. What'd you think of this scene?
Yeah, I mean, this tells you it all, she loves him,
Mhm.
and even though, you know, sh with everything that's been happening, what he's been doing, she's,
Mhm.
like, kind of been telling him kinda like who to kill, right?
Right, right.
She
Well,
kinda
she's
has
trying.
control of this guy.
Yeah, yeah, and we find out a little bit later on about all of that. So she definitely has, links to him and what's going on. But she was also talking about how she didn't expect him to hurt the innocent people. He was supposed to be going after the people that wronged him. And so you could tell that she was a little bit of afraid of him as well.
Yeah, she was I mean, who wouldn't be afraid of him? He's a freaking giant.
Right.
Plus he's, like,
Yeah.
half dead or something.
Well, we don't know that yet, but there's
Well,
something about
no,
him.
but
There's something
right?
about him. We got May in the chat. What's going on, May? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well.
Hey.
All right. All right. So Scott saying she was trying to help him, but also trying to caution him. Yeah, we were just saying that, Scott. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, okay, so now he has to figure this out. He's searching into the back files of Matt Cordell, who is the maniac cop. He knows this. And so this is where we start to get the backstory. He was a very popular, a very famous, and a very successful cop who basically, as it was explained to Tom Atkins' character, he was the type of cop that would shoot first and ask questions later. And I guess the mayor and the politicians and so forth kind of just turned their backs on him. He was said that he was stepping over the law, vigilanteism and stuff like that. So it was a pretty cool backstory. They showed him when he went to jail and how he was quote unquote killed by the inmates, which was
Yeah.
pretty, intense. Because I'm wondering at this point in the movie, you're trying to figure out, is he dead or is he, what's going on, right? Were you trying to
Mhm.
figure that out too, Coriander?
Uh, you know, you could just tell that this wasn't like a normal cop. I
Right,
didn't know to what extent, you know, his character, how, bad he was
right,
until
right,
it was explained. So, yeah.
right. Well, you have Tom and Teresa who are basically, spilling the beans, as they're talking to Jack while he's still he's still in custody. And so they got a game plan going on here, which is pretty cool. And you're thinking, okay, the three of them are going to team up. We're going to finish out this movie, them against the maniac cop. But it, it doesn't necessarily go like that, which was, I think it was kind of good. You had Tom Atkins going back to where the evidence was in the computer room. And then all of a sudden, Coriander, from nowhere, he gets attacked. And guess who attacks him? It's like,
Yeah,
what
man.
is going on here? Are you serious? So you've got Sally who's like beating him with her cane. I mean, like for real, she is messing him up. It's no joke. And I'm thinking,
Yeah,
oh
I
man,
thought he
don't.
would have like defended himself better, but
Yeah,
she was getting him good. So, yeah.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, but she runs out of the room, and then she sees that a bunch of cops have been killed in the precinct. People
Mhm.
are hanging by their handcuffs. It's crazy stuff, man. And then you have you knew what was going to happen. Matt is there. He grabs Sally, starts beating the crap out of her. You got Tom Atkins who's trying to save her. That's not working. And then in the holding cell, you've got Teresa and Jack who have to get out of there. She goes up to the guard, is basically like, let us out. What's going on? Let us out. She finds out that he's dead. It's like, what is going on? Like, Matt Cordell actually literally went into the precinct and killed a bunch of cops, reminiscent of
Mhm.
like the Terminator. He just went in there and cleaned house. It was absolutely crazy, man. But
Yeah.
here's the worst part, man. Jack tells Teresa, "Hey, you go down to the car, wait for me. I'm gonna find McCrae." And I'm thinking, okay, so that's pretty cool. But while that's happening, you've got McCrae who's getting his ass kicked by the
Mhm.
maniac cop. I'm like, you don't do that to Tom Atkins, man. What did
Yeah.
you what did you think of this scene? You know where we're heading here, and obviously now we're getting into
Mhm.
the spoilers of the film, the bigger spoilers and the big
Yeah.
spoiler. What'd you think of this scene?
I mean, it was a bummer,
It
because
was.
I was even trying to think, what other movie have I seen Tom Atkins get killed? Get thrown out a window, yeah.
Yes.
Land on a car and die. It's like, I don't think
Yes.
any.
I
So
know.
it
I
was a bummer.
know. It was a bummer. I will say, man, there were a couple things in this film I thought that were done pretty well. This film did not have a big budget whatsoever. But there
Mhm.
were some decent stunts in the film. The film only had about a $1 million budget, maybe a little bit more, 1.1. So there were these moments where, and I've seen movies with bigger budgets have things that look worse. So when they threw Tom Atkins, quote unquote, Tom Atkins out of the window, it looked okay. It looked pretty good. And when he hits the car, you've got Teresa right there waiting outside. So it was done very well, I think, this particular scene. But it was sad, bro. She knows what's up. She's screaming her head off. It was sad, bro. It's Tom Atkins. You don't do that to Tom Atkins, man. You don't do that.
Yeah,
Um,
right?
re- Real quick, Gina's in the chat. What's going on, Gina? Good to see you. Hope
Hey.
you're doing well.
Yeah.
Let's see. Gerald's in the chat. Tom Atkins is an incredible actor. He is.
Yeah.
He is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Saying just about every movie that he has played in is outstanding. I agree. I
Mhm.
agree. He's definitely, to me, he's an absolute icon of the genre. He really, really
Yeah.
is. Always
Mhm.
love him in all of his movies. So, listen, the big game plan, they want to go see the doctor that performed the autopsy on Matt Cordell, and they have to go to Sing Sing, baby. So Jack and Teresa go there to talk to the doctor who had declared Cordell dead, because they're trying to figure out what the hell's going on as well. And
Mhm.
he explains to them that when he was stabbed and cut up a bunch of times by the inmates, was left for dead, that he was barely alive but brain dead. Okay.
Mhm.
And he decided, because you had Sally, who obviously was his love interest at the time, or at one point. Sally had said, do the right thing and, give him over to me, and, blah, 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 blah. So this doctor is like the worst doctor in the history of in the history of the world. No, not the worst. But as far as declaring him dead, knowing that he's technically alive, and then covering it up. I mean, come on, man. This is ridiculous shit. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? So,
Yep.
anyways, so they find that out. He doesn't want anything to do with the killings or the knowledge that it's Cordell, supposedly. And so Jack and Teresa are like, man, we got to get the fuck out of here. We got to figure out how to stop this guy who literally seems like he's unkillable. So they decide to go to the commissioner. They want to tell the commissioner, they want to tell the mayor, because there's a parade, and it's like they know that Cordell will be targeting the commissioner, the mayor, and everyone else. So
Mhm.
they go to him, and of course, now Richard Roundtree, this is a small part that he had in this film, but he was good in it. But of course, he's not buying any of this shit. Nobody's buying any of this shit. It's like crazy, everyone except for Teresa, Jack, and obviously McCrae. They're just they just don't get it. They don't get it. They just don't want to get it, right?
Mhm.
When you get to this point in the film, this is heading into the third act, the finale. What were you thinking at this point, Coriander? Because you knew that Cordell was going to come in there and try to take out the commissioner, try to get to Teresa, because obviously she knows who he is.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, yeah, I was, you know, I don't know, it kind of was a little long. I'm not
Okay.
saying I didn't enjoy it, but
Mm-hmm.
they could have shortened it up a little bit. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just me nitpicking. Um, but yeah, I mean, he comes in and does his thing. I'm actually glad it's in a well-lit area because it always
Mm-hmm.
seems like it was in the street and in the dark. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yes.
So this was kind of it was a good change of pace. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it was pretty cool because now they're in the precinct. Matt kills the cop that was holding Teresa, in custody because they didn't believe her. And so now, it's basically he's going to come after Teresa. Now, I will agree with you with one thing. I think this scene was well lit. And
Hmm.
I thought that that was cool. But I think that they really could have, played this out a little bit more, because she's in a place where it's hard for her to get away, get out. So I think if they had him stalking her more, I think that that would have been pretty cool, because he basically kills this cop. She drags the cop's body because they're handcuffed into a room and closes the door. And then, of course, you have the scene where Cordell is breaking through the door, which was fine. But then she goes out to the window, which was smart. But I'm just saying, I think they could have had more fun with this scene. She goes out to the window and then she's basically safe because he leaves. All the while
Hmm.
down on the street, they're basically putting Jack in the back of the van, the police van, because they found him. He is been branded as the maniac cop this whole time, anyways, and they
Hmm.
see that hey, he escaped from his cell. The whole precinct got chopped up, so they're like, we got our guy. So it's
Yeah.
like, oh, come on, man, seriously.
Hmm.
Um, Dan in the chat saying, I was hoping the Maniac Cop would fight William Smith's character because Smith had boxing experience. That would have been interesting. That would have been interesting. There's a
Mm.
couple missed opportunities, I think. And again, this movie, very, very small budget. I think they did what they could do with it and story wise. So uh, and May in the chat has an anniversary, a channel
Awesome.
anniversary for being a member 6 months. 6 months. May, that is awesome. Thank you so much. She said,
Hmm.
she says, Night and Coriander might as well claim me in their taxes next year. We are the Night Watch family for life. I like that.
Nice.
May, you're all
Right.
right. Thank you so much, May, for all the support and the love, being in the live
Definitely.
chats, helping us out, and also helping us out with being a moderator, keeping
Yeah.
folks up on all the information in the live chat,
Hmm.
reminding people to not put spoilers in the chat and all those types of things, and to be respectful. We really appreciate
Yeah.
all the help, May.
Without you guys, yeah, our community wouldn't be like it is either. So it takes all
Absolutely.
of us to, make this work the way it does. So
Very,
yeah.
very true. Very, very true. And May, let's play this one for you. This one's for you. Thank you so
What
much.
are you, deaf? Don't try that Halloween shit with me.
There you go.
Oh man.
Good old Bucky. You gotta love it. You gotta love it.
Mm.
May you rock. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So this is basically the final act because now you've got Jack in the back of the van. Cordell takes the van and starts
Yeah.
driving. So Teresa has to chase after him with this other officer. So this was a car chase. I loved
Yeah.
this scene.
And of
They're
course,
driving through the streets.
yeah, poor Ash in the back and thrashed around.
Yes. Yeah, he's falling all over the place.
He
There's definitely,
is.
some reminders of like Evil Dead 2 and stuff like that, man. Gerald saying one of my favorite all-time scenes when he was driving the truck, picked up Jamie Lee Curtis in the fog. That scene, yes, That was a great scene. I know. Tom Atkins, he's the best, man. He
He
really, really
is.
is. Let's see. D's in the chat. What's up, D? Good to see
Hey.
you. Hope you're doing well. Let's see. And I think I'm caught up. We need to do a Maniac Cop watch party. Let me just say this, actually, that's a good point. We were thinking of doing it as a watch party, and we've been doing watch parties for so many of our episodes right before we have Slasher Movie Club. But we want to make sure that we have enough folks that are wanting to do it, because we take the time to schedule that out, within our own personal schedules. So I'm probably going to put up a poll in the community tab within the next day, to see, what you guys think, especially for you guys that are members. We want to make sure that we have enough engagement to do the watch parties, because otherwise we can just watch the movie alone ourselves, which is what we did for Maniac Cop. So look out for that on the community tab, guys. Look out for that on the community tab. And D was saying this is a good movie to review, very underrated. Yeah, I'm glad we finally got around to this. It was
Yeah.
on the list for a little while. Yeah, it was. Russell coming in with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Russell. We really appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Thank you.
Saying shout out to the fam and man, love you all. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Mm-mm.
We appreciate that. Definitely helps us out. No doubt about it. So, real quick, let's play this one for you, Russell. Thank you so much.
But listen up now. This is serious. When you're tempted to do something wrong, even if the reasons are good, think twice, because you never know how things will turn out. You might be getting yourself and everybody else into a whole lot of trouble. Do what's right, and you can't go wrong. Take it from me, Mr. T.
There it is. There it is. Are you laughing?
I love it.
Yes.
That first time you played Treat Your Mama Right.
I
Oh my
know.
God, man. Me and
I
Killian.
know.
Damn.
Right? Russell says,
Wow.
do a watch party for all three in a row, Russell. Wow. If we knew, let me say this, and tell me what you guys think of this. If we knew that we'd have at least a third, maybe even to up a half of you members that would come to the watch parties with us and watch them, we would do it. We really would. But seriously, who knows? This was a fun one to watch. Maybe if we go back to the series, we'll watch some of the other ones, because I'm intrigued. I really, really am. Gerald's, and you're definitely one of the greatest streamers I've known of. Oh, well, thank you so much. Seriously, I
Oh,
appreciate
wow.
that. We got Chuck in the
Mm-hmm.
chat too. Thank you, Gerald. We
Hey.
appreciate that, and glad that you enjoy the content
Yeah.
here. So this
Yeah.
this chase was awesome though, Coriander, because Teresa's got to
Yep.
catch up to Cordell, who has friggin' Jack, Bruce Campbell, in the back of the truck, handcuffed too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this was a great chase through the city. You see some really cool driving and all that stuff that you would see back in the 80s with these types of films, which I miss.
Yep.
I really do miss this type of stuff, man. I really, really
Yeah.
do.
Right?
But eventually, he goes back to that area, that dock, that pier. I think it's 14
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. And she's like, I'm gonna save my man. She's got the shotgun and everything. Now, this is the scene. This is the big stuff right here. So
Yeah.
Jack decides to just lunge through the doorway before Cordell can get him and kill him with an axe, which was a pretty cool scene, right? Except he lands on the ground. And so you got to love Bruce Campbell, man. He's so good in these physical type of roles, his
Yeah, he
reactions and stuff
is.
like that. He's got
Yep.
such great charisma and timing. So we finally get the full view of Cordell
Yeah.
as he lifts Bruce Campbell up into the frickin' sky. He's all scarred up. I'm talking like Joker style. He is all scarred up, obviously, from the attack of the inmates and so forth. He tosses Bruce Campbell across the room like it's nothing. You got
Mm-hmm.
Teresa, who's about to shoot him. And then next thing you know, he grabs the gun. It's crazy. It's like, oh my God. It's like this, a cool little fight. But eventually, what happens is the cops have been called in. They're not there. Cordell decides to get back into the truck and drive off. And of course, the only person that can stop him or have the hopes to stop him is Bruce Campbell. He's hanging onto the side of the truck as they're driving. And then all of a sudden,
Oh,
man,
man.
and this was a cool stunt too. This is what I wanted to get to. He basically drives into this huge like pipe that impales him
Mhm.
and then drives off the edge of the pier. And you got Bruce Campbell, of course, we got a stunt man. Look at that. Dude, this was a really good stunt.
It
It's like,
was.
wow, because the truck is flipping in one way and you got the stunt guy who's flipping out the other way. It's like, wow, it was pretty cool, man. It was a pretty cool stunt. You didn't
Oh, that
think
was a
so?
good pitch. No, but that
Oh,
picture, yeah,
look at
man.
that.
Oh
He's just
my
hanging in
God.
the air, man.
I know.
He's just like,
That's great. It's
what's going
dangerous though, like you said, and that water didn't look very deep. So, yeah,
No, it didn't. It didn't, man. It was
right?
crazy, man. But you got the cops that finally show up. They
Oh,
lift the truck out of the water, and you knew what was
yeah.
gonna happen.
Of
He's not in
course.
there.
Of
He's not in
course.
there. Come on. But at the end of the
Yes.
film,
You see his
there
hand.
he
Dun
is.
dun.
Bum, 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 bum. Look,
Oh
man,
boy.
I'm telling you, this movie was crazy. There was an alternate cut of the film too that shows that the mayor, who also, knew that it was Cordell and afraid of Cordell exacting revenge on him, but it showed in the office, the mayor, you saw Cordell's boots behind a curtain. So obviously Cordell was going to kill the mayor, and then of course that leads
Yeah.
off into the next film, which we haven't seen, so we won't get to that. But
Right.
seriously, it was crazy, man. This film, it's just crazy, no doubt.
Yeah.
Real quick, shout out to Mayan working hard in the chat. She's already got the link up for tomorrow night. We'll be back
Awesome.
live on Battle World. It's going to be
Yes.
amazing, guys. I don't want to say anything more, but let me just say that we've got a battle that is probably one of the most what am I gonna say? Near and dear to our hearts. I'll just say that, okay?
Mm,
So definitely join us tomorrow night, 7:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. May saying, everyone just take a minute to like the stream, set up notifications to be reminded. Thank you so much, May. We really appreciate
ah,
that. Seriously.
mhm.
Yeah, no doubt. It'll be a great battle tomorrow. There's no doubt about it. And also, just to remind you guys, and for you guys that may be newer to the community, if you'd like to become a channel member, just hit the join button next to the subscribe button, and you can be invited to our exclusive and private watch parties, hangouts, and live streams, and more. So
Yeah.
definitely think about that. Helps to support the channel. We'd appreciate it. We
Join
have so
us.
many of you guys here that
Mhm.
are channel members, and we really appreciate you guys so much. It helps us to be able to do all the content that we do and more. So, Coriander, we got to the end of Maniac Cop. As always, we have to give this our grade. Okay. So,
Yeah.
this is our scoring system. We have 4 badges, meaning that we think the film is excellent. It's a must watch for horror fans. And if you can, you should buy it on physical as well. We have 3 badges, meaning that we think it was good. We have 2 badges, meaning that we think it was okay. You can either take it or you leave it. And then we have the dreaded 1 badge, meaning that we hated it, that it's horrible, aka what we call dark territory, also known as blood cult, aka good night, God bless, aka student bodies, aka don't go in the woods alone. So, Coriander, what
Yeah.
are you going to give Maniac Cop for your score?
I I'll give it a 3.
Okay, we're gonna give
Yeah.
it a 3.
If
All
I
right,
could have given it like a half, if we had halves, because didn't you do this
which
last
we don't.
week?
Yeah, go ahead.
Right. Right. I would have given it 2.5.
Okay,
But yeah. But I'm giving it on the
overwhelming.
higher end. Yeah, and that's
Okay,
just because of the cast.
yeah,
So
the cast was awesome. Seriously, and
yes.
let me just say, well, okay, let me give my score and then I'll talk about the cast because it kind of falls into that. I got to give it a 3 as well. Um, I would give it a straight 3. I'd give it a straight 3 because for me, that cast was just so good, man. Just having Tom Atkins, Bruce Campbell, Richard Roundtree, and I think also that we had Lorene Landon. I thought she was really good as Teresa. And so, in other words, I guess what I'm saying is that you had this cast that kept me invested in the movie. It did have missed opportunities. It did have a little bit of pacing that was just kind of off. The biggest missed opportunity, I think, was when they were in the precinct. I think that because I thought it was going to be a little bit more of that, um, almost that slasher vibe, final girl vibe with Teresa and Cordell chasing her. I think that could have
Mhm.
been a really cool scene. But again, small budget. They had a lot of things going on, stunts and
Yeah.
all that. So I get it. But yeah, I give it a 3. I think it was fun. I love these types of movies that are back in the 80s. You got the car chases, it's New York,
Yeah.
it's at
Yeah.
nighttime. This
Mhm.
had a good atmosphere to it. So yeah, that's what
It
I'm
did.
going with is 3. Okay, let's see what these guys decided to do. Let's see. We got Russell. Russell's giving it 4. 4 badges for Russell. Okay. Scott
Nice.
going with 3. Dan's going with 3. All right.
All right.
D says 3.5 badges. Okay. All right. All right. Let's see. May saying 3 is good. Yeah, absolutely. Russell saying, thought this film is great. So I give it 4 badges. All
All
right.
right.
Very, very cool. Yeah, I think this movie has a lot of interesting aspects to it. I did read, doing our prep for tonight. Just real quick, I want to say this. You had some critics that were kind of on board with it. You had some critics that weren't. It did have like a
Mhm.
53 or 54% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is pretty good
That's not
for
bad.
this type of movie. Like,
Yeah.
the cheesy 80s movie with a really out there type of premise. So that's not too bad for Rotten Tomatoes. But there was this one critic that said they said they didn't like the movie because it's a cheap Friday the 13th clone or knockoff. And I'm thinking,
Hmm.
this didn't remind me of Friday the 13th at all.
Not
Like,
really.
like
If
what?
anything,
What?
a little Michael Myers where he was stalking and,
I mean,
you know,
maybe. Yeah,
but
maybe. But I mean, when you have a killer, whether they're silent or not, that doesn't matter to me. But I mean, I don't know. I guess why I'm saying this to you guys is I just think that back then, movies like this really didn't get as fair of a shake as I think they should have. So that's
yeah.
why I'm glad that we get a chance to talk about movies like this that people don't talk about a lot. And especially
Mhm.
for newer and younger audiences, they may never have heard of. So hopefully we can shine some light on movies like this. So yeah,
Yeah.
very, very cool. Um, let's see, real quick. Gerald says, by the way, 3 badges at least. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think 3 is fair. And if people want to give it 4, that's fine with me too. So,
Yeah.
anyways, guys, thank you
Their
so
opinion.
much. Yeah, absolutely. We all have our opinions. So,
Mhm.
but thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. And like we said, tomorrow night we'll be back for a really, really cool episode of Battle World. So don't forget,
Yeah.
we had the link in the live chat, or you can go to the front page, check out the streams, hit the like button, get us set up before we even begin. So we will catch you guys next time. If you're watching this, if you're listening to this, you are the Night Watch. Peace. Rise.